the second Fig crowdfunding campaign has failed to reach its goal. Yeah. So, and it missed by like a mile too. Like they made, I think, 100,000 out of their 500,000 that they were looking for.
500,000.
Yeah, and this is like a project from a well-known studio that's made quality games in the past.
Isn't that $100,000? It was investor money, wasn't it?
Maybe. So Fig, for people who might not remember, is a crowdfunding platform started up by a bunch of game industry veterans. It's curated, so there's a panel that decides what actually makes it onto the platform or not. And the big boost that gives is that they will allow people who are accredited investors to actually invest large sums of money in exchange for an equity stake in the game. Which is like, that's how investment usually works, right? Is you give money and in return you get a share of the profit.
Yeah, it's like a Kickstarter plus angel investment.
Yeah, exactly. It was a mix of both, but it was nice because you weren't giving away your company, you were just giving away equity in the game itself.
In the game itself, yeah.
And their first project, which was Outer Wilds, which was like an award-winning game and stuff.
Barely squeezed past its goal.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of barely made it past its goal, but it still did get funded. But now the second game, which is from like Fifth Cell, which is a company that has made super cool stuff in the past.
Like what?
Did they make Scribblenauts?
Am I
No,
no, you're
that's
thinking
level
of
7.
They made Drawn to Life.
Level 7 was Scribblenauts, wasn't it?
Maybe?
I'm pretty sure it's, but
Drawn to Life. They made Drawn to Life. They made I'm blanking on the name, but they made this like really cool, like kind of tower defense-y game back on DS in the day. They've made some really cool stuff in the past, and they had this new project here. And yeah, they failed by like a huge margin.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's due to could it possibly be due to the fact that it's not Kickstarter? Because I mean that is a big weakness, right? If you're not Kickstarter,
that's a big part of it.
You're just not Kickstarter.
Yeah, because you have multiple platforms, and obviously this one might be smaller because it's curated.
I mean, and even Indiegogo has that problem, even though it is the second biggest after Kickstarter. It still has the you're not Kickstarter problems.
So it's interesting. Like I almost feel like I kind of saw this coming a bit because when Fig first was announced and they like showed up, day one, and they had this new project. They were all over the news everywhere. It was like, oh, this Fig thing is super cool. Yeah. And you saw like funding on the project just shot up within the first few days. They were nearly at their goal, and then the second people stopped talking about it every day, it just died.
Yeah.
And they did slowly manage to reach their goal. But like they almost didn't, and a lot of that I think was just lack of discoverability. Like when you have a platform like Kickstarter that has all these people coming to it, there are people who will go to it just looking for things that are cool to fund. Like I'm running a Kickstarter right now, and a lot of our backers, from what I see in the breakdowns, have found our game through the like Discover Games page.
Here. So this is the TMS Discover Games page. Whoa!
There's
Poltergust.
Maybe a thing here.
Interesting.
It's invisible. It's like a ghost.
Pretty. It's like a floaty. It's a little floaty.
But yeah. So I think that maybe Fig's curated aspect may have like turned around and
it might have bit itself in the ass.
Bit itself in the ass because there's only ever one project at a time that's on it. There's no reason to go to the page if you're not already backing that project.
There's one project at a time?
There's one project at a time. They said that they might do like one or two, but so far there's only ever been one Fig project at a time.
Well, that won't help.
And this is not a project that everyone can fund.
No, only
everyone can fund.
Anyone
can fund. If you are an accredited investor, you can fund in exchange for equity.
If you're an accredited investor.
Yes, but if you're just a regular person, you can just back it like a Kickstarter and get your rewards and stuff like that, but you won't get an equity stake in the game. But you can back it as a total layman. You don't need to be an accredited investor to back. But yeah, I think it really had that problem where it's like, even though you'd go on Fig and you'd have just that one project and it was front page there, they didn't give people a reason to go to Fig all the time looking for stuff.
That's the thing.
So
that's where Kickstarter wins.
Yeah.
Is that they've got hundreds upon thousands of projects.
And like there's 660 games on Kickstarter like live right now, I think.
So if somebody would be browsing through the games on Kickstarter, they're like, oh, I don't like this, but this looks interesting.
Yeah. And Kickstarter does their stuff of, trying to filter out what looks cool with their staff pick stuff, with their project of the day stuff. stuff. So they try and bring that spotlight to cool projects.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not as big of a spotlight as if you can be, front page of a crowdfunding site for an entire month. But if there's nobody going to that crowdfunding site because you haven't given them a reason to go
Yeah,
there,
they won't.
then they won't. I was looking into Fig when we were planning out our campaign, and we submitted our stuff for review. And eventually it was okay, this is what's their crowdfunding. They announced in advance we're gonna have this new project from Fifth Cell. Okay, cool. And then it feel like nobody heard about it again. They announced in advance what they were gonna have.
I didn't even hear this was gonna happen.
Yeah. They were just hey, Fifth Cell, they make cool stuff. They have a new project that's coming to Fig. We're gonna announce it soon.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know Fig had started their. I thought it was upcoming, and then that's all I heard about it.
I feel like they just did a really bad job of getting the word out there.
I completely forgot that Fig even existed until.
And I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I think anyone who wasn't
backing things, I think Kickstarter
or Indiegogo.
Kickstarter, or Indiegogo, even GoFundMe is a little bit better known.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who's not embroiled in this stuff just didn't remember that Fig even existed. And so especially that they had a really big goal. Their previous project, The Outer Wilds, I think had $120,000 goal and barely made it.
No,
so then the second one to have a
$154,000
$500,000 goal, right? To have that much more.
Oh my god.
Was maybe it was a risk. It was obviously a big risk.
It's always a risk when you're trying to...
I'll be curious to see if they do another project on Fig, or at least how Fig changes things in the future. I would hope that this isn't just kill the platform, because it is a really good idea.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is.
As a developer, it's a really, really cool idea to have this platform.
Yeah, you and I were very excited about this.
Yeah, to get to allow you to get real investors without giving away your company in exchange. That's all things that I'm really, really care about.
Well, if anything, Fig will get out information about why it didn't work, and they might change it for the better. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I hope that this doesn't kill the platform. I hope that they learn from this and make it even cooler and better, so that the next project on Fig does gangbusters.
Yeah.
I really, really hope that this doesn't just turn into alright, didn't work, so we're shutting it down.
Yeah.
because the ideas are good. There's just a lot that needs to be learned.
Smart people invested in Fig as well. Tim Schafer is one of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of really smart people who were in there making the platform. A lot of good ideas.
Yeah, they have to have a meeting and be why didn't this work?
Yeah,
what do we need to change? Kickstarter. What made Kickstarter work? What made it really popular?
Games-wise, it was Double Fine's Kickstarter that kind of kicked it off. They weren't the first, but they were the first big, huge one.
Yeah, they
were.
Right,
Kickstarter, when it first came out, a lot of the game section was actually mostly board games, and board games were doing really, really well. When the video games stuff started with it, a lot of that came out of Double Fine's Kickstarter, which kind of makes it ironic that then Tim Schafer, CEO of Double Fine, goes to make his crowdfunding platform with a bunch of other industry legends, and it just kind of flops.
But maybe it's also because they didn't have very many applicants.
Oh, they had a lot of applicants, from what I've heard.
So that's their own fault.
They had a lot of applications.
It does sound though like a platform that would only showcase one game.
Yeah, I think that is honestly the problem.
It's there's no diversity.
You need diversity.
You do need diversity.
Not everybody likes the same thing, and not everybody's going to invest in the same thing.
And it's also gonna. Don't you think that people who are the accredited investors are gonna think hey, this game is here. Let's look it out. Oh, they're not getting that much. It's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's more risk than anything if they're not getting any attention.
Yeah, because big investors are going to look at how much of a risk it is and what the return on investment will be like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The first thing that they're going to probably see is how much money do they have made already without the accredited investors. I'm pretty sure that an investor, accredited investor, is going to be able to approach the people who run Fig and ask how are they doing non-creditor wise. How many people are actually backing?
They might actually have to take a look at that and see what they need to do to improve that.
I don't know how they surface all that information. But it's I really hope that they take this and turn around and fix the problems. And I think that the biggest one,
the problem.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that idea of
fix the problem,
discoverability, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to have, if you want to have a site that's going to draw people in and want them to invest stuff, you need to give them a reason to come check the site and see what's worth investing in.
Agreed.
And not just like, oh, it's that same thing again as last time.
Yeah,
right.
basically.
You know, Kickstarter. There are people who check Kickstarter like every day looking for projects. Like there are people who just love backing projects.
And they get a bunch of free shit out of it.
Yeah.
So
So
free. They get a bunch of really
they do
cool
the
they
shit.
pay for shit and then they get stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's how it works.
the fundamental idea of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But you know, if you have a project
Capitalism.
where every time you go back to it, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And like sometimes there's just nothing because they're in their review process. Like there was a good like month or so gap when the other one wrapped up before they started a new one, where it was just like check back soon and we'll have something.
Yeah, so basically they made a lot
made a
of
site
huge
that-
mistakes.
You kept like forgetting to visit,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like a site that kept telling you come back in like a couple of months, try to remember, and gave you no reason to want to remember.
That's true.
Oh well.
So yeah,
Better luck
hopefully
next time.
it does better.
I guess we'll see what the fate of Fig is, eh guys?
Yep.
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching our videos. I appreciate if you go to our Facebook at Too Much Sugar Films, and you can check us out too on Twitter at TMS_films. Don't forget to like this video, leave us a comment below if you want, and check the rest of the videos right over here.